Hello viewer, we're back on Daymar and we're going to do a little experiment here. Hopefully my voice chat is functioning. I'm going to turn off the text chat now. And I recently did a little trip with another player in the game. His YouTube channel is Vintage Rebel. He does far better content than the stuff that I turn out, but we did an interesting little experiment in navigation on moons and planets. So I thought I might share that technique that we used on this particular thing. Now, normally when you do navigation on a planet, you would simply turn on the quantum drive and it would give you a marker to where you want to go. That's kind of the easy way. However, if you're flying something like one of these little snub fighters, that's not going to work for you because you don't have a quantum drive, therefore you don't have quantum markers, and you can find yourself lost fairly easily. That happened on a recent session that I did. So I flew here on the Pisces. However, once we get a certain distance away from it, it's not going to show me my ship marker anymore. So let's just take off, and we're going to pick a semi-random direction to fly in, and then we're going to try to find our way back here. And hopefully I can do this without dying. Now, I'm not even really paying attention to my compass heading, although I could use that, but the problem is if you're doing low-level flight, and you start twisting and turning, you can very quickly find yourself not exactly sure which way it is. I know it's approximately towards the sun, but beyond that, there's no way I'm ever going to find my way back there. So we'll do some speed and direction changes so that that's not really useful for tracking it. And we left from ArcCorp 141, ArcCorp Mining Area 141. And I think that blue marker, nope, that is not for my ship anymore. For some reason I have a marker that's persisting in the sky for a ladder. It can't persist to keep my ships on the ground so that I can go back for them afterwards. So if you get separated from your ship and the game crashes, you're going to lose the ship. You'll have to claim it. You'll lose all the stuff that was on board. But a random bugged marker, that's the sort of thing that can persist from one session to the next. Ain't Star Citizen wonderful? So we got a dust storm going on here. We're getting towards the dark side of the planet. Flying relatively quick, so I'll start heading in the general direction of the light. Sun's over there. But if I stop here, you can see that I don't have a marker for my Pisces anymore. Oh, that's interesting. I'd never noticed the retro firing. So the question is, at this point, how do I find my way back to ArcCorp Mining Area 141? I'm completely lost. I don't have a quantum drive, so I got no beacons for it. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to try using the star map to locate myself. So we'll zoom into Daymar. Now we're right there. We're in the southern portion of the planet. Now the way that you can tell whether it's north or south, whoa, that is hard to keep track of, is if you look at the marker, the orbital line here, that should be along the equator of the planet, and north and south will be based off of those. So we'll zoom in a little bit more. So this should be approximately North Pole here, South Pole here, but I can't see the OM markers because those are also part of the quantum navigation system. So I line up on this and I can see that I'm here, Harkarp mining area is here. So I want to go west with just a little bit of south in there. So 270, maybe 260 degrees. So I'll try going 260 degrees. And you can kind of dead reckon it here. So if I zoom in, I can see that it's about the same distance between mining area 141 and TPF, whatever that is. So I don't know what the distance is for that, but I can use that as a reference point when I get a little bit closer to find out approximately how much further I have to fly. Although, because there's no miles marked on here and there's no way to tell how much territory you've covered, that doesn't really help you. It's a little easier with two players. But in any case, I'm going to try about 260 degrees on the compass and see whether or not that gets me to sort of where I need to be. So west would be 270. .260, so we'll try in this approximate direction here, and if I can get reasonably close to it, I should be getting a marker for the ship that was there. Now, even if you don't have a ship there, let's say somebody blows yours up, or you got dropped off by somebody, or whatever else happened, you might still be able to find it just by pinging and looking for other ship markers. Then I know it was towards the mountains, so that's at least one a good sign. Oh, and there's my marker for the Pisces at 12 kilometers. Now, if I stop here, I didn't spend a lot of time going too far away from it. So we go back into the map view. Back to Daymar. And we can spin it around and we can see where I'm at. And you can see that I am pretty close to where I'm trying to go. I need to fly basically south by looking at it from here, assuming that the whole north-south thing is as accurate. And like I say, you can just use the orbital line for the moon to figure out where the equator is, and then go like figure north-south from there. So it looks to me like I'm a little bit south, so when I turn at 10 kilometers, should be turning to the south. And it pretty much is. Not directly 180 degrees south, but pretty close to it. And there we go. We're back to our destination. This is where I started from. Now, this will also work with ground vehicles, although, of course, you're not going to get quite as far away with a ground vehicle, because sometimes people like to come here and they like to spawn their, let's say, their Ursa or a Cyclone or something like that, or a grav bike, and take off into the hills and cruise around and you're doing your Star Wars on Tatooine fantasy, and then you realize I got no way of getting back to my ship or of getting home other than suiciding and going back to your spawn point. Well, this is the other way back. You just have to use a star map, and it takes a little bit of effort to get yourself located. But once you figure this out and practice it a little bit, you can find your way home from pretty much anywhere on the planet. Anyways, I hope that's been helpful to you, and come back and watch for the next one if it has. Bye-bye.